What's up, Booksters? My name's Angela, and I am here to do my May wrap-up. So this month I managed to read 13 books and finished one audiobook. So the first book that I read this month was Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. I started this in April and I did not have a lot left, but I finished it the first week of this month and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. This is the second book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, and if you haven't picked it up yet, you really should. It is an epic fantasy. I really recommend this series. I'm really enjoying it so far. The next book I read was The Shore by Sarah Taylor. I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. It was just okay for me. It's about a community in Maryland, I believe, and the story takes place over multiple generations, so it did get a little bit confusing at points, especially because this is an ARC copy and there wasn't a family tree in the beginning like there is in the finished book. So I got a little bit confused, and at certain points the story just lost interest for me, but like I said, it was an okay book. The next book I read this month is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. There were a few things that I didn't like so much, mainly being that I liked Lucian and Reese more than Tamlin, and that's not so good. Especially because Tamlin is the love interest, and I was like, no, you should go with Lucian or Reese. I really love Lucian. I thought he was an amazing sidekick, and I really want him to get his own story. But Reese is equally amazing, and you should definitely pick this up. It was really good, and I definitely flew through this in no time. And now we're going to get into things that I read for readathons this month, and the first readathon I participated in was the Bout of Books 13 readathon, and the first book I read in that was Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. 5 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy this book. This is about how our main character, Amy, must stop Dorothy's rise to power and return Oz to what it formerly was. The next book I read in that readathon was Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This is a more friendship story. It is a very summertime read. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was good, and I've never read Morgan Matson before, so it was a really nice introduction to her and this beautiful story about friendship that I really enjoyed. And then I picked up The Great Zoo of China by Matthew Riley. I love this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. If you like Jurassic Park, I really recommend this. This book is about a Chinese experiment gone horribly wrong. This zoo is being opened in China and they have dragons there. And what happens when the dragons get out of control in a desperate attempt to win their freedom? Read the book and you will find out. Next thing I picked up was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed this. It is about parallel worlds and our main character can travel through the different Londons. And I cannot wait to read the sequel because I really loved these characters. That wraps up my Bout of Books 13 readathon, and it also, the last 3 books that I showed were part of the Crush Your TBR readathon. I read 3 books in a weekend. I was pretty dang impressed. But now we're moving on to the Ribsat Round 5 books that I read. The first book that I read for Ribsat Round 5 would be Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I really enjoyed this story and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Amazing. If you are a gamer, even if you're not a gamer, I think you'll really enjoy this story. The main character, Wade, lives in a struggling America. Everything is collapsing around him, and the only way he can escape this is by entering the Oasis, which is a virtual world where basically everything is done. You can buy properties, you can have a job, all through this Oasis. One day, the creator of the Oasis dies, and he hides his will in the form of an Easter egg somewhere inside the Oasis, and Wade, along with almost everybody in the world, is determined to find it and win the inheritance. So if you like the 80s or gaming or both, I really recommend this book. This book is very well suited to teenage males, so if you have a teenage male reader in your house, I really recommend you try this out on them and then read it for yourself. This book that I read for Ribsat needs a little bit of an introduction. As a booktube watcher, you find channels that you really like and people whose opinions you trust. And the majority of the time, they love the same books you do, so you don't have to worry when they say, go pick this book up. I really recommend it because you know you're going to like it too. One of these booktubers for me is Charlotte over at Beatles Books. She has very similar reading taste to mine, so I know if she says she liked it, chances are I'm going to like it as well. As it so happens, one of her favorite books was on my May TBR anyway, and I decided to pile it in with Ribsat, and that would be The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I picked this up strictly because she said she loved it so much during May. I already had it on my shelves and I was just putting it off and putting it off. I decided to pick it up this month and give it a go and see why she thought it was so great. And let me tell you guys something. When I first started reading it, I was like, Charlotte, what did you get me into? I hated this book. I did not like it. I did not understand the terms, and I was flipping back to the glossary every page, at least 5 times a page, because there were all these words that I was unfamiliar with, and it was really hard to get into for me. And then page 28 happened, and magic. It was fantastic. I don't know why I ever doubted Charlotte. She clearly knows what she's talking about, and I really love this book. I am going to be picking up the Mime order in June because I have to know what happens next. And obviously I gave this book a 5 out of 5, even for the slow start, because that is how much it blew me away. My advice to you would be, if this seems a little bit confusing at first, just give it until at least page 30 to work its magic on you. The terms will become more clear and easy to understand, and you won't have to flip to the glossary as much. Last book I read for Ribs at round 5 would be Winter's Curse by Marie Raskowski. I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars any day, every day. And I ordered my copy of The Winter's Crime, but it hasn't come into my Barnes & Noble yet. I am super disappointed. This book is amazing. I cannot go on enough about this book. Typically when I read a dystopian book, the female character starts off in a lower position in society, or she's in poverty, or she hasn't found herself yet, and that kind of bums me out. But as the pages go on, she, starts to find herself and starts to make a name for herself and starts to prove that she can do anything that anyone else can. This book was not like that, which was an amazing change of pace. Our main character, Kestrel, starts off the book in a position of great authority. She is self-assured and very confident. And then toward the end of the book, the roles get a little bit reversed, which I really enjoyed seeing the tables turned on her. But this is an amazing book. I really, really recommend it to anyone. After Ribsat, I picked up the After series by Anna Todd, the first book called After, and I rated it a 3.75. I did enjoy this. I hear so much crap about it on Goodreads. There are so many negative reviews, but I think a lot of them are more directed at the author. This started out as a fan fiction on Wattpad about One Direction, the main guy character being Harry Styles. And a lot of people were angry about the way she portrayed him. Honestly, I didn't know anything about this series going in. I just picked up the first one because I thought the cover was really pretty, and I was hooked. I was so drawn into these people's lives, I could not put it down. It's a very real and raw storyline, but I didn't really care for the first book because it followed a very distinct pattern, and it was tedious in points. So then I moved on to the second book in the series, which is After We Collided. This book I'm giving a 4 out of 5 stars. It still does follow a typical pattern, but it's so good, and I just cannot put these down. I literally read through the first 2 books, which are super chunky, like this. The other one I had to return to the library in a matter of 4 days, I think, and I'm almost done with the third one, and I started it last night. So because I'm filming this with 1 day left, I'm going to go ahead and put the last book of the After series in there, which is After We Fell by Anna Todd, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I'm so close to being done with it, and I'm really enjoying it, so I don't see my rating changing unless it goes to 5 out of 5, which I still do have a few little problems with this series, but I have to make sure that I remember it's a fan fiction and try not to judge it so harshly. I mean, obviously it's not going to be the masterpiece of literary fiction. And for the last little bit, I also managed to finish All the Light We Cannot See on audio. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. So good, you guys. If you have not read it or listened to it, I really recommend it. If you sign up for Audible, I believe you get one download free, so you can go check that book out if you have yet to sign up. It was amazing. It is a World War II historical fiction, and just the way all the details interconnect with each other, I was just loving every minute of it. And the narrator was amazing. So if you can, I really recommend you listen to it. So that is it for my May wrap up. I want to know what you guys read down in the comments below. Be sure to let me know. Link to your own May wrap-ups because I would love to see. And if you have any great recommendations, let me know. I would love to check them out. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.